Ladies and gentlemen, today's episode is a special one to me, not only because we have 100% battery, very special, but it's also special in the fact because today we are going to be going over 10 of the most cursed accounts I've seen in my entire journey here inside of Brawl Stars. And this episode would definitely not be possible without AT&T support, the sponsor of the episode today. A little bit more on that later. So it's no secret that I enjoy cursed accounts in Brawl Stars. We have an ongoing series where we've highlighted hundreds and hundreds of accounts out there that are bizarre and take a lot of dedication and time. And for today, I wanted it to be a bit more on the special side of things. A handful of accounts across all of these different ones that we visited in the past that have left a huge impression on me. To my memory and some of the feedback from you guys in the community, the most cursed accounts I could think of. So let's get into it, baby. Starting off with our very first one, and this one could be met with a little bit of biasness, but I did, like I said before, reach out to a few of you inside the community who watch my videos and got some perspective on some of these cursed accounts in the episode, which led us to this one, which has made an appearance in past cursed accounts videos. We have one of my mini accounts, Ray Mini, a very, very old account, but what makes it cursed is something sitting in the inbox. If we scroll all the way down, we can see a donation, a skin, a particular skin that we could only ever get once inside of Brawl Stars, and that was the global release. Star Shelly, and what makes it cursed in my opinion is that I did not claim it. It's still sitting in the inbox from 68 months ago, dude. Oh my goodness. You guys do not know how many times I've had a little itch to make a video maybe sometime in the past to claim that sucker saying, hey, after 68 months, I finally did it, but I haven't. A very old account with an unclaimed Star Shelly skin, one of the rare skins inside of Brawl Stars. Moving along to account number 2. Many of you guys might remember this in a more recent episode here in this ongoing series, but that is the longest win streak ever obtained. Lil managed to wrap up one of the craziest accomplishments some time ago, gaining a 10,000 win streak, which is absurd. That is definitely very prestigious, but I do have to say recently there's been a bit of a battle that wasn't really taking place when we first started covering this crazy win streak. As you can see here, there are now 3 individuals in the 10k echelons, where the number 1 player with the longest win streak has been a new player, right? We have Ibomio sitting at an absolutely stupid, I would say, 10,112 win streak. People have been pushing the barrier of win streak totals to the absolute maximum, to the point where the only way to achieve a win streak like this is a kind of roundabout method that's not actually this person getting 10,000 wins in a row with BB, right? I believe it's with duels. But either way, absolutely absurd. We'll see how this race continues. Now, before we get into the all-time most cursed accounts, account number 3, I do want to give a huge shout out to AT&T for bringing this video to you guys here today, making it all possible, not only by providing me with a solid connection, being able to stay connected with all of you guys through my videos, but especially with this video in particular. It's something special being able to reach out to any of you guys out there if I have questions about particular cursed accounts that made impressions on you guys for input on this episode, and just all around being able to build a really awesome connection and relationship with you guys out there who are watching this episode. So thank you to all of you guys, and huge thank you to AT&T for sponsoring this video. Moving along to cursed account number 3, or category number 3, I would say, and that has everything to do with masteries. I will never let masteries go when it comes to cursed accounts and the impact that they had on these things. Probably in a few years from now, we'll look back at masteries in a fond way, and maybe even some of us might be forgetting about them. But don't you worry, your good old pal Ray will be here to help you, remind you of all the crazy accomplishments some people had out there. You guys already probably know this, but with mastery in the game, there was a visual cap that once you got there, you maxed out the mastery on that brawler and were rewarded because of it. Gold 3, all that good stuff. However, people ended up finding out that there is not a hard cap or a limit. You could go further beyond, and there were websites and tools out there where you could actually see how much past you happen to get with a particular brawler or just on your overall account. And probably one of the most legendary accounts out there was Myth, who happened to get the absolute most mastery points ever, sitting at a whopping 4.7 million mastery points, dude. To put it in perspective, I believe it only takes like 36,000 to max out mastery. I could be a little bit off on that. I just don't know off the top of my head, but an absolute metric crap ton that's hard to fathom, right? Now, where things really started to get interesting for me, not only the grand total of mastery on an individual account, but the thing that really tickled my fancy with these mastery milestones and cursed accounts is individual brawler mastery totals. Myth, also holding that mastery point spot, got his Leon to 2.8 million mastery points, guys. 2.8. Ridiculous. Like, come on. And then we have a few other recurring individuals out there that was just absolutely mind-boggling once we were able to see them with these websites. We had Lift Poom. I'm so bad at names, but they grinded a Tix mastery points up to 2.2 million, which is nuts. And all these other individuals up here with more than 1 million on certain brawlers. It's just crazy. It's hard to fathom. Always a fun spot for me, the mastery point totals. Reception, baby. But moving along to our next group of cursed accounts. A very long time ago, over 2 years ago now at this point, there was a band of accounts out there that was hard to describe. Our very first example of accounts that really were like hackers, cheaters. So just to showcase a bit more of its cursedness, around this time, the highest fame rank that we had in the game was Solar Fame, which hard to believe at this point, seeing that we are past that now, right? But there was a club out there that had some really bizarre names and accounts in them, like C106 or like C77, and every single one of them had the max fame rank with a very bizarre amount of things on their profile, whether it was the highest trophy totals, where it didn't really necessarily match up with like the 3v3 victories and stuff like that. Really seemed to be like really underdeveloped accounts, right? Still having these ridiculous solar fame ranks. Now, this wasn't the first time these accounts were brought to our attention. They actually got a ton of coverage before that and eventually led to their banning. Way back in the day where levels were a thing. Can you guys remember that? Where it wasn't just archived arbitrary points that we have now that are in like our fun little archive system, whatever we have. But these accounts not only had these crazy fame ranks, but before that, there was this interesting glitch or hack that they were doing, giving them absurd amount of XP in the game. You can see here one of the accounts out there that have the most playtime, and to this day has the most playtime, is Landy, which is 5,223 hours at that time. I believe it's more by now, right? It should be. But really, putting into perspective how hacked these accounts were, these guys had 53,000 hours of playtime on each of the accounts, right? Some shady business going on. And because of this playtime that they had absurdly huge XP levels here, 480. All the other accounts had like 500, but they were later banned. Now, this might not mean a lot to you guys, but it definitely made a huge impression on me and kind of piqued my interest in future cursed accounts to come. Nowadays, people on their archived level, there are a few individuals in the game who happen to make it to level 500 on their own, but this was way, way before that ended up happening. 500 was just absurd, and they had way more than the level cap or the experience to get to 500. It was really bizarre. These accounts were weird. So in my opinion, they definitely deserve a spot in one of the most cursed accounts, in my humble opinion, ever. Moving along to our next very cursed account, and I don't believe we ended up talking about this ever in a cursed account episode, so kind of its own little niche thing, and was thanks to one of you guys out inside of the community for helping. Once again, thanks to AT&T for helping make that connection possible. But the reason this cursed account is so bizarre can be already seen by the club tag, right? Being so short. If we type it in, we can see this club here and one individual in the club. We have TOGOKO in the club, and they are the president. Now, what makes this account so cursed is how old it is. If you guys didn't know how you can tell how old an account is how short their player tag is. Their player tag is only 3 digits or 3 letters or digits. Hashtag 2PP. I've gotten word and confirmation that this account right here is the very first Brawl Stars account ever created. Ever. Very cursed, all right? I also have information through the grapevine. I believe that this individual was like a dev team member or someone at Supercell, right, who owns this account. So not only is this the oldest account ever in Brawl Stars, but the club that they own is one of the oldest, if not the oldest as well, being a very, very short club tag. Just to kind of put this in perspective, as you guys know, my account, I pretty much so made it as soon as Brawl Stars came out. I believe I downloaded Brawl Stars and made my account like a week before its beta release, 2 weeks or something like that. So basically ground level. I was there right at the beginning. And my player tag is 7 digits, just to give you guys some perspective as to how old that account actually is. I believe the other couple people that I know who have really absurdly short club tags, old accounts, is OJ and Pat. I believe they both, I think Pat has 3 digits and OJ has 4, I think. I guess we can check right now. Yep, 4 there on OJ, very old. But then we have Pat here with a 3-digit tag, LQL, nuts, dude. Now our next account is a little bit on the bizarre side of things, but if you take cursed accounts at face value, basically what we look at is bizarre, rare occurrences, things that make accounts stand out from one another. And this one is one of the rarest accounts out there. We have Nat here showing off her main account being very cursed. Now, what makes her account so cursed is the fact that Nat owns a true gold tick skin without owning a true silver tick skin. Sounds weird, and nowadays, I believe accounts out there, because of one of the most recent community events that we got, we happen to be able to get true gold Doug as a reward without owning true silver Doug. So there are accounts out there much like this, but Nat's account will forever be unique because it's the tick, right? How this happened to go down was Nat was live over on Twitch one day, and I believe Frank happened to be watching, and Nat convinced Frank with a 1K like deal on Twitter for Tick to be one of the next batch of true gold and true silver skins to come out in the update. So they said deal, Nat popped out a tweet, and it got over 1K likes easily. Now what ended up happening is Tick was then released true gold and true silver. Those skins were released in the next update. However, Nat was rewarded because of this by Supercell and the Brawl Stars dev team, giving her a true gold Tick skin. Straight to her inbox, she ended up claiming it, and her account will forever be the only account out there ever with a true gold tick skin without the true silver. Crazy. Very unique and one for one, as cursed as it can really get, if you ask me. Now, before we move along to our next cursed account, I do want to give another huge thank you to AT&T for helping out with this video today. Not only do they allow us to be able to stay connected, you and I watching this episode, but you guys know I travel a crap ton, and one of the most important things that I need while I'm traveling is a solid connection and a way to be able to do my work. And I kid you not, no matter where I was in the world, I have never had an issue staying connected because of AT&T. And I mean it. I've been on like, even in like the middle of the ocean on a cruise ship where you would think connection wouldn't be that great. I still was able to easily produce videos thanks to their help. So huge thank you to them. It's making this video possible and honestly making this channel possible. But rounding the corner to our next cursed account, an account that we have talked about many times in the past that has made a crazy impression on me, just the pure dedication to something cursed. And what makes me love cursed accounts out there, right? And that is going to be going to 8-Bit Turbigs here with 0 trophies at the very bottom of the club. The most insane account there is out there, I would say, or one of, right? Up there in like, if you had to make a tier list or a top 10 cursed accounts, this has to be up there. No trophies whatsoever, but a ridiculous 3v3 total and a solo showdown victory total. 76,000 3v3 victories is immense on an account outside of a just cursed account. You know what I mean? They have way more than me on my main account where I just play Brawl Stars. What makes this account so cursed is just the length and dedication to how they happen to get so many victories. And that is literally the only way they could get them was through the map maker game modes. And what makes it even more ridiculous is because he has 0 trophies, he can't play these modes by himself. Here on one of my 0 trophy accounts out here, you need a grand total of 1,000 trophies to play map maker maps. But there is a workaround. If someone you're playing with has more than 1,000 trophies, you can play in these map maker maps, but you need to play with them. So whether it was friends of his that helped him grind 76,000 3v3 wins in map maker, inviting him to the lobby, or it was on like an alt account where he DC'd every single time, but still had to win that game. Either way, it's an absurd thing to do just for the cursedness of it, right? One of my favorite cursed accounts out there, and like I said before, I've been playing this game since launch, 32,000 3v3 victories. He has double my 3v3 victories on a cursed account. It's crazy. Moving along to our next cursed account here, another account that made a huge impression on me when we first stumbled across it is this account. What makes this account so cursed is they are a strictly dedicated power level 1 account. Now, I'm not 100% certain if this is like the best power level 1 cursed account, but this is one of the ones that I remember the most because of first stumbling across it. What makes it crazy is the amount of overall all-time high trophies that this account has, being 100,000, an achievement that's hard to get to for anyone out there, let alone all brawlers being at power level 1. And you can tell at the time that they happened to get 100,000 trophies, they didn't have as many brawlers as we do now, where some of their brawlers aren't even to 1,000 trophies. So they managed to do this, pushing their brawlers well past 1,000 trophies to get the 100,000. Now, I put an emphasis on power level 1 accounts now because back in the day, they were way easier to push. I had series out there pushing brawlers to 750 trophies, and I can attest how difficult it is to push power level 1s out there. But nowadays, the power level and the creep that you get in game when you level up a brawler to power level 2 or power level 3 is much more drastic as it was back in the day compared to back in the day. So a power level 1 brawler has never been weaker now compared to any other time period. Even with the sole fact that we have hypercharges and crazy abilities in this game now, power level 1s have a tough time pushing in this day and age. So the fact that they managed to get to 1,000 trophies on all their brawlers and well past that to get to 100,000 trophies is insane. Hard to fathom. I've always thought power level 1 grinds to like 1,000 trophies is like insanely hard, to the point where I always thought you needed some sort of gimmick, like a thrower, dynamite, where you had some substantial damage, but you're not going to die right away because you can hide behind walls. But some of these brawlers that just make no sense to me, like a Rosa or some of these tankier aggro units like a Mortis, how in the world are you going to get to 1,000 trophies on a power level 1 Mortis where you have to attack people right in their face? You would get melted. Some sort of gimmicks or some crazy strategy had to be put in place for a lot of these brawlers, which really is making these cursed power level 1 accounts super commendable, and I find them really awesome. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those were some of the cursed accounts out there that we have talked about over the span of hundreds and hundreds of accounts out there that have made a huge impression on me, and I consider some of the most cursed accounts out there for somewhat of a special video here. Once again, I would like to give a huge thank you to AT&T for making this video possible. Make sure to check out the links in the description down below, and thank you all for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. Be sure to let me know in the comments if there is any accounts out there that I might have missed. I was just utilizing my brain and some of you guys out there, but let me know, did I miss anything out there that is crazy? But thank you again, and we'll be talking super soon. Adios, everybody. Take care.